sing a song. We'll get people up here. What is your absolutely favorite song?
Oh my God.
I know. I always like asking Nanna that question.
When I survey the wondrous cross.
All right. So everybody should have a hymnal. And
185.
185. Let's turn to number 185, and we will start. 185. Gary, would you mind leading singing so I can play?
My privilege.
You're ready, Nanna.
When I survey the wondrous cross at which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, then pour contempt on all my pride. Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the death of Christ my God. All the vain things that charm me most, I sacrifice them to His blood. See from His head, His hands, His feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did e'er such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. So amen, you may be seated. Now, here's how things are going to happen. We're going to be singing some hymns with Nanna playing a favorite part, but we would also want to encourage you to grab the mic and say a few meaningful words of thank you. So here's the issue. For the sake of live streaming, we're going to ask you to come up front to do the speaking, sharing, and then because we have such a short amount of time to do it in, we would like you to let your presence be known that you're wanting to share. So you have two choices. You can come up and sit on the bench here. I'll know you're there, or you can just come and sit on the front pew and let me know so we can sort of keep things going. So, pardon?
You can sign the picture if you're not done it yet.
Yes, and don't forget to sign the picture before you leave today if you haven't signed it yet. It'll be here till the end of the event, and I'll take it home to Nanna. So I'll perhaps think of a couple comments as we go along, but when I was born again, God had it that Nanna became my mother for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. I ended up living at the Harlan home for a few weeks, maybe 8 or so weeks. Oh, sorry, 3 months. It was much more difficult. It was much more difficult for her to endure, so it's months. For me, it's just weeks. So, one of the things that are a precious memory is, so I was learning to have my own quiet time. And I came across a verse in the Psalms one morning. And in the King James Version, it said, God sets the lonely in families. Now, my story is, I was raised in a large family, and when I think I was in 3rd grade, maybe 4th grade, my dad gathered all the kids around. There was 9 of us in our family, and gathered the ones that were born yet into the living room and gave us a little instruction on how we do family. So he said, we just want you to know ahead of time that when you're 18, you're an adult and you're on your own. So you'll be leaving home at 18, and whatever you do after that will be up to you and on you. So he helped us start a little bit of a savings account in case we wanted to go to college. But it was pretty clear, when you're 18, you're on your own. Now, when you're 4th grade, 18 seems like ancient future, some old person. So I thought nothing of it. But I was 18 before I knew it, and the process of parental discretion occurred, and I left home. And it was, the Lord used it for many good ways in my life and many good skills. But when I read that passage that morning, I had been living in Nanna's house maybe 2 months or so, maybe less. But I suddenly realized that I had needed some finishing in family, and God knew it, and He put me in Nanna's home, and she finished me. She finished me off with. She finished me off. So, but it was her love, her acceptance, and belonging, and it was it's amazing how much happens without words. You don't need words when love and nurture and care is happening. Maybe I shouldn't say you don't always need words. Words don't hurt. Well, as long as they're good words. So, but that verse just taught me, wow, I need family, and I received a finishing school under Nana's care, and Granddad as well. But the very first Sunday I came to church after I was saved, Nana was the organist, and she's been my organist ever since. Drag her with me wherever I go. But never forget that first Sunday, she played hymn number 374. And let's stand together and number 374. Oh, love that will not let me go, I rest my weary soul in thee. I give thee back the life I owe, that in thine ocean depths its flow may richer, fuller be. O light that followest all my way, I yield my flickering torch to thee. My heart restores its borrowed ray, that in Thy sunshine's blaze its day may brighter, fairer be. O joy that seekest me through pain, I cannot close my heart to thee. I trace the rainbow through the rain and feel the promise is not vain, that morn shall tearless be. O cross that liftest up my head, I lay in dust like glory dead. From the ground there blossoms red, life that shall endless be. It's amazing how family is God's source of earthly love and hugs. So, you're sitting up here. Did you want to share something? I'm teasing.
You can be seated in between.
Yeah, be seated. Be seated, but somebody needs to come up to share, though. Or we'll just keep standing and singing. Any others, quickly, so we don't have a lot of dead space. I get really nervous when there's dead space. Go ahead, and if you're planning on saying something, go ahead and come up so we can gauge how many songs to sing.
Hi, Nanna. I just have always been so blessed by this ministry for our family, and I remember when I'd come to the fairgrounds for the workshops, just how warmly you always greeted us and made us feel such a part of a community that we were so new to. And all the phone calls that we'd make to the office, and you would always be there to help, and I just want to thank you so much. All right, thank you.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to think about all the labor and service that Nanna has given. And it's interesting that every time that there's someone that does something significant, there's always somebody behind the scenes who's carrying and moving everything and making it all happen. And Gary gets the wonderful privilege of standing in front of the microphone, but Nanna has been behind the scenes for some 3 decades or more now, and so she has given a lot of labor and love, and I had the privilege through my father and our churches to meet Gary back in the 70s, and then at some point in time, when my wife and I got married, we were a little bit slow. We waited about 5 years for our first, and then another 5 for our second, and then as I first looked at what's going on with the family here, I was like, oh, those children, it was really difficult. But I finally caught on, and I have 8. So I have 4 that have graduated, and I have another 4 here. And I can't help but think about all those camps that Nanna helped disciple my children who were running around unruly in the camp. While I was off busy talking my head off with other fathers and stuff. And so I appreciate all that she's given, and over the years, all the packages, all the work that she went through, all the paperwork, and all the stuff that really is necessary for this ministry and church, and obviously the families to operate. And so we greatly appreciate that. And I guess about 10 years of serving on the board or so, I just saw a lot of what Nanna had done, and it's been a real privilege to know her and have her be a part of my family's life. So thank you.
Okay, Nana, this is a letter of thanks to you from the McCullers family, Chad, Vivian, and Matthew. McCullough? McCullough. Okay, the McCullough family. Congratulations, Nana. What a blessing you have been to all of us. We were new to homeschooling, and it was always wonderful to hear Nana's voice on the other end of the telephone line. No matter how confused or when things didn't make sense, she could come to your rescue. You always had a smile on your face. Never did we have to worry about home visits. Nana made the day go well. Nana was a grandmother figure to everyone. Today, that is just so important. Nana made the kids feel at home when they walked into the office. Her closeness to the Lord could always be felt. She looked to the Lord for strength each day. I remember one visit, she talked about her failing knees, and she didn't want surgery. Nana's belief was the Lord didn't care what her knees looked like. It was her faith in the Lord that was important. That day has always stuck in my heart and mind. I have watched so many people go through so many different surgeries, and they seem to not have their priorities in place like Nana. We need to put our faith in the Lord first and the medical world second. As we age, we can only think of Nana and ask ourselves, the Lord has put this challenge on our plate. How does the Lord want us to handle it? Nana would wonder why she was still here at times when the aches and pains would shine through. Nana, you are here to be a role model for others. We are so grateful to have had the opportunity to experience your faith and positive role model to others. May the Lord continue to bless you, and may you continue to shine on others as you have shined on us. God bless you, Nana, the McCulloughs, Chad, Vivian, and Matthew.
Well, as you know, Steve and I and our kids were a part of Walkersville for 20 years. Thank you. And we're now alumni for a couple of years, and we couldn't pass up this chance to be able to come and celebrate this day with you, Nana. And from the very beginning, you go to Roxbury, and she's registering you there, and she's also telling my boys not to ride their bikes when they, when they shouldn't be. And you go to the workshops, and she was always there helping, and at the office, and no matter where you were, Nana was always there. Such a blessing, and she was always a great encouragement to my youngest son Jacob with his pottery, because she was always faithful to buy his pottery. So thank you very much. Love you.
I have a letter from Donna Flea-Hardy. She had to go to her soon-to-be grandbaby's shower, so she couldn't be here. It says, Dear Nana, I've had the opportunity of having a different relationship with you than most. As your underling in training, you're tricky. I thought you were making casual conversation at my youngest senior checkoff day. You asked, what are you going to do after Hannah graduates? The next thing I knew, I had a job, but you were patient. You said take your time recovering from hosting your older daughter's wedding and reception and younger one's graduation. You can start in July. So I did. How many other moms did you ask the same simple question of? Why was I, the only one programmed to respond to you okay? It would be the first of many times to answer you okay. I found you knew everything that went on in the office and remembered everything that had happened in the past. My mind, 30 years younger than yours, is no match. Impressive. Still, you were patient with me, questioning everything, and you often willingly made those phone calls. Dreaded, I'm grateful. I've enjoyed our conversations of your history, your family, your man, your thoughts, and your God. Sometimes funny, sometimes sad, sometimes surprising to hear of God's actions, always interesting. Thank you for not reaming me out for all my mistakes. I don't care what you said behind my back. I really did enjoy working with you, and I miss you. Love, Donna. And from me, dear Nanna, when I think of you, I have many pleasant thoughts and memories, but I think one thing sums them up. You are a wonderful testimony of the call to be a Titus II woman of God. You live out each of the specific commands given to teach younger women. You teach what is good. You have a passion for what is right. You urge younger women to love their husbands and children. Your love for your own family. You live self-controlled and pure. You call us to holiness. You are busy. No one will argue with that. You are kind. Your thoughts and actions are for others. You speak highly of your husband. Your life is a beautiful testimony of God's love and his desire that we grow closer to him. So thank you.
Well, Nanna, it's we've known you for quite a while now as a family. You were there when we first attended Walkersville, and for my family, you've been a grandparent, because most of you probably know we're originally from Illinois, and we didn't have any relatives on the East Coast, so wherever we go, God has to provide for us. And while we were here, you were that provision. And so our family is very grateful for that. And the other thing I will say is in my career, I've had the opportunity to be close to great leaders of organizations and see them in public and doing what they do. But behind every great leader, there's always somebody back there that's keeping them organized, in line, maybe reminding them that they're going overtime. Not that would ever happen, you know. But you were that person that made Walkersville Christian Family Schools. All the details was mentioned before. That's what made it. Yes, it's a team, but you were a major part of that team. And many times those people don't get the credit they deserve. But you were a blessing from God, and Skip would be very proud of you this day. He was a very blessed man to have you.
So we'll do another hymn while a few more of you are pulling your thoughts together. 518. 518. I started for the kingdom, since he controls. Since I gave my heart to Jesus, the longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows. The longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows. The more that I love him, more love he bestows. Each day is like heaven, my heart overflows. The longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows. Every need he is supplying, plenteous grace he bestows. Every day my heart gets brighter the longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows. The longer I serve him, the sweeter he grows. The more that I love him, more love he bestows. Each day is like heaven, my heart overflows. Longer I serve him, sweeter he grows. Amen. So just before Sari comes, go ahead, you can sit down. And just before Sari comes, a little quick anecdote. One of the memories I have of Nanna is unconditional love. Now, I've proved it, but I remember the first time I proved it, I had never ever in my life been so settled by unconditional love that I could just relax and be me, including my faults. And so, but I'll never forget, I was living at Nanna's house and working a construction job. This was before Sally and I were married, and I'm going out to my car, getting in the car, and the bedroom window throws open and Nanna's whole torso comes out of the window and she's hollering at me something I needed to do. I don't remember what it was. And it just really irritated me. And I remember just letting her have it. I mean, without any bar told. I yelled back at her and got in my car and drove away. And as I drove away, I realized for the first time in my life, I was healed. Someone loved me unconditionally. I knew when I came back home there wasn't going to be a fight or a fuss. There's going to be a welcome. Now that doesn't excuse my temperament, but it was an amazing thing to learn that there's a possibility of being so secure in love that you can even have faults and not abuse that. So, Sari.
Now you got me all teary before I come up. Nanna, when I think of you, one word comes to mind, and it's genuine. And I just really appreciate the fact that there's just no facade, there's no false front about you. You are the person that you show the world and that you show the people in the church. And it's just so genuine and loving, genuinely loving and caring for people. Both my mom and my mother-in-law have come to church here in the past, and I know that they would both say that one of the biggest blessings they received while going to church here was the friendship you offered them. And that means a lot to me because you blessed the older women in my life. And I know they'd both like to be here if they could because you're really dear to their heart. And so just thank you for that friendship that you extended to them. And just for myself and my family, I appreciate the way you've always valued our family, even though there's a lot of us and little ones of varying sizes growing up. They're always young and noisy in church, and you've always just extended a real sense of value, that it's okay when they're noisy because they're precious and they're important to value, and I appreciate that example you've given.
I've always said the noise coming from the back is a blessing.
Yeah, we make most of it.
I know you do.
So I was thinking about a lot of things, but a couple things. Nanna, I don't remember exactly when we first met, but that's probably because it's really seamless, because I started coming to church at WCF 6 years ago this month. And it's really hard to remember. I can't remember not knowing Nanna. Isn't that funny? Probably most of you have that kind of idea. But I can tell you one of the first memories I have of where Nanna really ministered, and I ditto everything everybody said, especially what Mark said, because Nanna, you just have the special gift to touch people and make them feel so special. I felt like your grandson ever since I first came, and you're always doing things that people have no idea that you're doing, whether it's all the stuff you did for the school, which, by the way, what gives? You left me high and dry. Kind of. I'm finding out all the things you did. Because Donna's only there 2 days a week. And everybody else is finding out how much you did too. Because it's not happening. But one of the things that Nanna just blessed me, and I feel like it was when I think one of the first real personal interactions we had. Many or some of you might know, I went to law school. I was going to law school when I moved out here, and it was my last year of law school. The school I went to allowed me to do things by distance. So I was working for Daniel as a law clerk and finishing my last year of law school, and I had one more set of finals that I needed a proctor for. And I had always had someone available back when I lived in the Northwest, and I actually had an older widow who helped me out a lot. But came to my final exams, and I was in a real pickle because I hadn't been here that long yet and didn't know people super well and could not find anybody right off the bat who could proctor. I looked into a couple different options, and I don't remember now, it might have been Daniel's idea to suggest, well, maybe you should ask Nanna. Like, oh, okay, well, that's a good idea. But I just still didn't know you real well at that point. But so I just still remember calling you and saying, hey, Nanna, you want to proctor a legal exam? And Nanna said, sure. And she actually proctored my longest set of exams in school, which meant that I had to show up at her house. I think I got to your house about 7 o'clock in the morning. And she proctored my last 2 exams, and that was a huge, huge need met for a single guy who didn't know what he was doing. And I just look back as that was just a really neat opportunity. I got to spend some time, even though I was mainly doing my tests, but she blessed me that way. And then the other thing is that Nanna and I have been able to serve in music at church for the last 6 years. And that has just been so huge of a blessing. Nanna is truly a gifted musician. And she has a real love for music, and she has a real love to have other people appreciate music, and that just shines through. And I could say so many other things, and I speak on behalf of my wife and my children too. And Nanna, you are just so good at especially 2 things. One, seeing small needs and meeting them. And that means a big thing to the people, even though it was a small need. And whether it's been a card you've sent to us or a phone call letting us know that you were thinking about us, how you've reached out to my extended family, I'm just blown away. They love you to death, even though they don't live here, because you're like their favorite person over here. Sorry, guys. You know, it's Nanna they're interested in knowing about. But so you just do that so well. And then I just totally second the fact that you're so authentic, and that just has been such a blessing. So thank you, and we love you. And I know if Michaela was here, she'd echo it as well. So thank you.
Hi. Again, everybody said so many things. I'm like, oh, I was going to say that. But one thing about Nana, I was just thinking, Walker's a Christian family schools. The two most important words in that is Christian, of course, and family. And Nana is a big, strong. She's very in love with God, and she's very in love with families. And I don't know if you know, she's got a few, I think 5 kids, and she's got several grandchildren and a lot of great-grandchildren. And she's got even a great-great-grandchild now, and she's got a lot of family, but her family is extended larger, and she just keeps welcoming more and more people in. And that's what's so neat about her. She's fun to be with. She and I have had a couple little adventures here and there. We do things every now and then, grab lunch. And she's showing me how to do things around the church here and there. Not musical, so we don't go there, but she's teaching me a lot about plants. We have a little standing joke about coreopsis and cyclamen, 2 words we can never remember. So she's taught me a lot about plants and just lots of different things, lots of things. My parents have lived 1,000 miles away for a long time, so it's been nice since we've been here to have kind of like a mother away from, a close mother that's right there. And she's always available. I mean, she's always available. I'm just so amazed. She's always available. She's fun, and she's thoughtful, as everybody said, and she teaches, and she always does it with grace, and she loves the Lord. I think that's the most important thing, and that shines through in everything that she does. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that we were able to be a part of this today and to honor you.
Hi. When we got the announcement by way of the newsletter that this was going to happen today, I wanted to be here. It's hard for me personally to get up and talk when it's an emotional situation. But as I reflect back on our years, and as Karen mentioned, 20 years with Walkerville, 3 kids, being on the board, I reflect and say how good the Lord is, because you've been part of that. You've loved our family, and although this is maybe a time to set aside from some of your responsibilities, you're still here, and we'll get to see you again. So thanks be to God.
If not here, up there.
Amen.
Oh, Nancy. I speak for Ralph, too, when I say I'm so grateful for your friendship. We just loved our times together so much. And you know, this is going to sound terrible, but when I came to work here, there were all these young people. I was so glad when you came. I love you.
Everybody, and I have done that for years. This is the one. I thought you had to stop it.
Yeah, not yet. We have time still.
I'm sorry, I have to read this for my daughter Rebecca, who couldn't be here because her sister-in-law is getting married today. She was so disappointed. Rebecca and Joe and their children, their 5 children, they're in the school. But and so she was so looking forward to this day. She says, "Hi, Nana. I hope you were blessed by this celebration in honor of all the life you have given to WCFS and each one of us. Thank you for all that you've shared, taught, and endured so cheerfully. I enjoyed the short years I was able to work alongside you and learn from you. May God continue to shine through you and bless you in the years yet to come that He's given you. I love you and wish I could be here with you to say this in person. The children say hi, and they love you too, and they say, pet your Nanna dogs for them. Love, Becca, for all 8 of us.
Well, I'm very grateful, Nanna, for all the years that you served here at the school. Actually, I was going to share that anecdote. Like Joel, I can't remember a time that I didn't know Nanna. Some of my earliest memories of when I was probably about 2 or 3. This is one situation. I was being watched by Nanna because I think Mom was having a baby, and just the dentist. Okay. It was something serious or something big. I thought. So, but I remember her taking me out to get ice cream, and that was a very distinct memory when I was about 2.
I didn't know you that well because you lived up here and I lived down there, and we sat in the car and I thought, what am I going to do with this? So it was quite a while for it. And so we went to the store and I said, how about some ice cream? So we got these 2 little things of ice cream, and that's how I remember David. But finally, he was thrilled then. He was so unhappy.
So, well, I have some. I thought of some fun anecdotes that might be. I hope you don't mind me sharing, Nanna. Years ago, when I was probably in my early teens, I remember my grandfather, Skip Harlan, remarking about Nanna. He's like, "Yeah, Nanna, did you know she's got an IQ of like 140? She's smarter than me." And he was. Oh, well, it's basically 140. So she's very smart. And Granddad was impressed by my grandmother, so I was impressed too. But she's got a side to her. She and my grandfather, Skip, most people don't know this, but they were members of the John Birch Society, which back in the 50s and 60s was an active anti-communist organization, and they did different activities with that. And so about 7 years ago, I was at Fort Detrick in a security training class with some other soldiers and contractors, and they were at a break time. They were talking about their favorite TV shows, and they were talking about 24, which is a television show. It's really intense. So they said they were going on about it, and I hadn't really seen 24 a whole lot, but I kind of was trying to contribute something to the conversation. So I said, "Yeah, my grandmother likes 24," and then I suddenly realized, oh no, they're going to be insulted because I just equated their favorite television show to something my grandmother likes. So I quickly tried to explain myself. I said, "Oh well, she was actually she used to spy on Communist Party meetings in the 1960s," which is actually true. As a part of the John Birch Society, she would sit down on infiltrate the Communist Party. So that's something you probably didn't know about her. But that was kind of fun to be able to have that little fun thing to share with my coworkers. But thank you, Nanna, for many years of service, genuine love, and care for this ministry and for my family and for me. Love you.
Well, we're running to an end, so I'll have one more hymn, but before the hymn, I'll share my last couple thoughts. I was going to have 2 more, but thankfully there was lots of other sentiments, so I'll cram my 2 together. One is Nanna's generosity. Nanna's been generous to a fault. I remember the first Christmas I was at her home, and I could not believe how she spoiled her boys with all kinds of toys. And it was just, she doesn't have any idea what she's doing, but the generosity was so incredible. And as I thought about it, I recognized, Nanna's not going to ever have anything for her own retirement because she just gives it all away. And I remember so full of joy, so full of gratefulness. I was down at Gunpowder River on the bridge there, and I prayed and I said, Lord, I don't want to let Nanna's gray hairs go to the grave without my help. And I just wanted to be there for her because it was love begets love, and she got back what she gave out wonderfully. So, but she was also selfless. I remember her worrying. Her and Granddad would worry because both of them had to close out the affairs of their aging moms, and it was difficult with both of them. There was just difficult parts, the ugly parts that were so hard on her and Granddad, and so she used to just say, I don't want to do that to you kids. I don't want to do that to you kids. But I knew that she meant it. And so I remember we were praying one day actually back when they were about Sally's of my age now, and I just thought, while they're still young, maybe they could move in with us now when they can still do it. Because when you get old, you get kind of a little more set in your ways, and it's a little harder to do major changes. So we invited them to pray about building onto our house and living with us. And it was just an immediate answer, just a day or so or a week, or that call was back, yes, we're doing it. And they were here by summer, to our place by summer. And it's probably one of the greatest treasures my family's ever received. To have Nanna and Granddad live with us. We closed Granddad's eyes in death back 10 years ago, and just so precious that the kids got to know grandparents from a personal level, and it was just the way God meant family to be. And so I'm grateful, and thank you, Nanna. You always have. She's always been my champion of love. So what's our closing hymn, Nanna?
56.
56. Let's stand and we'll close with hymn number 56. Day by day, and with each passing moment, strength I find to meet my trials here, trusting in my Father's wise bestowment. I've no cause for worry or for fear. He whose heart is kind beyond all measure gives unto each day what he deems best. Lovingly, it's part of pain and pleasure, mingling toil with rest. Every day, the Lord himself is near me, with a special mercy for each hour. All my cares he fain would bear and cheer me, he whose name is Counselor and Power. The protection of his child and treasure is a charge that on himself he laid. As your days, your strength shall be in measure. This the pledge to me he made. Help me then in every tribulation, so to trust your promises, O Lord, that I lose not faith's sweet consolation, offered me within your holy word. Help me, Lord, when toil and trouble meeting, ere to take, as from a father's hand, one by one, the days, the moments fleeting, till I reach the promised land. Amen. Thank you, Nanna, for your love and years. It's nice to hear these testimonies, and she's able to hear them too. All right, we're dismissed for our next round.
So yes, just a few more meetings this afternoon. The student council is meeting over in the office right now at right now, and then we're going to have the senior class mandatory meeting at about 2:15 directly after student council. So we'll do that, and then moms are with Nikki and Becky here now. Yep.